What's up, guys? So obviously I am an avid Yoimiya believer, and so day one I took Raiden out to do some elemental mastery testing just for fun, like with Dragon's Bane and elemental mastery pieces, and it's incredibly cursed, like so cursed that in her burst she ended up doing like 300 damage per slash. But I did find out that with Yoimiya, it's actually not that bad. So what inspired me to upload this video is actually I've seen a lot of talk about it in different communities, and initially on stream when I did this live at twitch.tv/Braxophone, I had dismissed it as a for fun thing that isn't actually that good, because realistically you're throwing away Raiden's entire kit except for her elemental skill. But what I didn't know is that so many people actually liked the concept of Overload Raiden, so I wanted to make this quick video just to show you guys how strong she can be in the right setup. I am a firm believer that Raiden is Yoimiya's best support overall, so Yoimiya Nation, rise up and let's build off meta. So let's talk about why it kind of works in a disgusting way. So the idea of elemental mastery on any kind of electro character was kind of frowned upon until the 1.6 update, where they buffed elemental mastery and certain reactions, and essentially what that did is it made it so Overload does a lot more damage. Superconduct is still fucking useless unless you're in a physical comp, but Overload can be pretty damn good. Now, to be clear, Vaporize and Melt will always be king. It's the nature of multiplicative reactions. It's not like Overload will ever beat it unless they buff elemental mastery again, which I don't really think they should do. But going back to what we were talking about a second ago, the reason this works is because Yoimiya is primarily a single target character, whereas Overload reactions themselves are AoE. Like, the nature of them is area of effect. It's going to blow up and deal damage to everyone that's kind of in that immediate area. So effectively running Yoimiya with consistent Overload is going to be turning her into an area of effect unit rather than a single target unit. Now, what are the immediate problems with this? The immediate problems are that it's not actually Yoimiya's damage, because Overload is not a multiplicative reaction, right? It's Raiden's elemental mastery damage that's activating. So no matter what your Yoimiya's investment is, Raiden is going to be the one proccing the damage, which I don't know, you could argue it's better or worse. But essentially in this case, you can make the argument that 1010 made with Beto, that you're actually playing Raiden, you're not playing Yoimiya, because Raiden's going to be the one dealing the AoE damage. I don't really think it's that deep. I think it's kind of cool that you can force AoE to happen with Overload, and you can actually hit some decent Overload numbers. When you max invest into a character and you get them to level 90, it makes their elemental mastery scaling a little bit better. Who am I kidding? It actually makes it a lot better. So with the Raiden in particular, like you've probably seen throughout this video, you've seen some 17Ks, 15Ks, maybe some 20Ks, but just depending on your investment, how much elemental mastery you have, and the level of your character, you're going to be doing more or less damage. Now, I don't want you guys to take this the wrong way. You need to know that I'm using a C6 Yoimiya and I'm using her signature weapon. It is R1, but I'm using those things, and Yoimiya is still doing a ton of damage on her own, so it can be kind of hard to get a read on how much Overload itself is actually doing. But I will say that the Overload damage is pretty pog, and since Raiden's ability always procs after the initial hit, she is always going to be the one proccing Overload as long as you don't start with an Electro Aura, or if you just attack long enough, Yoimiya will eventually overtake the Aura anyways. Now here's why I hate this build. One of my favorite things about Raiden is their stance change. I know personally that it ends up being a DPS loss in some teams. However, I really enjoy playing it just because it's kind of cool looking, you know, it's a little fun, it's a little badass, if you will. And I wasn't kidding earlier when I said building her elemental mastery literally got me like 300 damage autos in her burst. Like, it really wasn't pretty at all, and it makes it so you don't even really want to use her burst for energy generation at all. So realistically, if you're running Overload Raiden, you just never use her burst ever, and that's part of the fun factor for me. So I haven't really been doing that. That doesn't mean it's not viable, it's just that I don't prefer to play her that way, which is kind of why I didn't make a video on it, because I feel like most people would be pretty upset that I'm saying, hey, just ignore Raiden's burst. But I did want to make this video to let you know that the playstyle is there, because a lot of people are starting to cover it now, and now I'm like, ah shit, I'm behind. You can ask anyone on my stream, I came up with this shit day one. Oh, but outside of that, there was another thing I wanted to talk about. So a lot of people are talking about different teams for Overload Raiden and Yoimiya, and honestly, I think one of the best teams that you could run, Yoimiya, Raiden, Albedo, and Zhongli. Now that it is all that's a whale team, right? That's 4 5-star limited units, but there's a point to this. Don't click off the video yet. So Zhongli Meteor isn't like super necessary to his play. It's really nice to have, but it's not like a completely necessary thing. We mostly just want him for his shield, and Albedo is a similar thing. He's going to proc off-field damage, which is going to be really nice. You can use Petra to make sure that you get a bonus to your elemental damage, but in addition to that, you're getting shield shards. It's just a really easy synergy to take advantage of. Alternatively, though, you could use someone like Sucrose. Jean is also really good. She's not limited. She is a 5-star, though. The idea of using a 4-piece Petra user or a 4-piece Viridescent Venerer user is going to help out Yoimiya's damage a lot. You're not really trying to do a lot of damage with Raiden. You're just trying to overload, so keep that in mind. In fact, Sucrose is going to be one of the better synergies for this, especially if you're constantly overloading with Yoimiya and you use Sucrose's burst. Sucrose is going to be able to cause enemies to take fall damage repeatedly, which will be pretty nice if you time it right. And on top of that, Sucrose will buff Raiden's elemental mastery, and the grouping utility is just so good. Yeah, I mean, I just made that Sucrose guide, and it's already coming in handy. So I was holding off on telling you guys my favorite synergy, which was C6 Bennett, because Pyro Raiden. People shit on C6 Bennett a lot, but he enables some good stuff. He also disables some good stuff, but I C6'd him for the pyro damage bonus for Raiden, and then I just found out that also, oh hey, like when I use Bennett's burst, if Yoimiya has downtime, I can switch to Raiden and get constant overloads too, and that's kind of funny. Anyways, this video is going on kind of long. I just wanted to show you guys that this interaction is super cool, and if you don't particularly care about Raiden's burst, you can do this. You can build Elemental Mastery Overload Raiden. I tested it extensively on stream. You know, I prefer to play her the way she's meant to be played, but it's actually pretty good. So quickly, if you're trying to build her, just remember Elemental Mastery Sands, Elemental Mastery Goblet, Elemental Mastery Circlet, and use Dragon's Bane if you have it, because that's going to increase your damage against enemies that have Pyro on them, so it's going to give her some damage bonus whenever she's doing Overload, and on top of that, it gives Elemental Mastery main stat. And if you're looking for teammates, you can basically use anything that's going to not mess with reactions, so you can use Geo or Animo. Animo will technically mess with reactions, but at least it's not like horribly oppressive, and you can infuse most Animo abilities with Pyro. But low cost bursts are the name of the game, since she's basically turned into C6 Fischl and you're not getting the bonus from her burst, which is another reason that Albedo was chosen, because Albedo's burst cost is pretty low. I'm not saying she's a bad battery, because she's absolutely not. You just don't get the bonus from her burst. So, but yeah guys, I just wanted to let you know that EM Raiden is, you know, actually viable, as much as I hate to say that. Let me know if you guys are trying it out or if you've been running it in the comments below, and I will catch you guys later. Oh, and follow on Twitch and sub. Hey everyone, YouTube Members is live on this channel. Finally, you can become a member of the channel if you're interested to get exclusive emotes, a special badge next to your name, special contact with me, a special name color when you're in YouTube live streams, and so much more. I encourage you to click the link down in the description and look into becoming a YouTube member if you're interested in supporting the channel. Thanks to our current members already, and I will see you guys later.